Thursday, 10 February, The Gap News This Morning, broadcasting live from Kuala Lumpur, I'm Ghazali Abdullah. First, the headlines. Astronomical rise in Malaysia's daily COVID-19 count at over 17,000 new cases. Muhyiddin confirms COVID-19 positive, self-quarantines. 15-year-old girl remanded over stabbing of newborn. Maxis in talks with government to regulate 5G rollout, says CEO. Canada truckers arrests as police warn of volatile protesters. Brexit causing increased costs, paperwork delays, says MPs. Ukraine tensions, Russia sees room for diplomacy. And Formula One, Lando Norris to stay at McLaren until 2025. And now the news in full. Daily COVID-19 infections have spiked yet again, with 17,134 new cases logged over the last day, bringing the cumulative total to 2,956,332 infections. A tweet by Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Muhyiddin Abdullah reported that only 86 cases, or 0.5% of cases from yesterday's tally, were those in categories 3 to 5 that require hospitalization. Some 71.94% of the new cases are in Category 2, while 27.56% are Category 1. Category 3 has 58 cases, followed by 24 in Category 4 and 4 infections in Category 5. Yesterday's tally is significantly higher than the 13,944 new cases reported on Tuesday, a surge Health Minister Hairi Jamaluddin has attributed to the new Omicron variant. Case numbers have more than tripled over the last week, with the testing positivity rate hovering around 5%, with daily testing capacity ranging from 77,000 to more than 150,000 tests a day. Dr. Muhyiddin, in a subsequent tweet, shared the current Health Ministry's standard operating procedures for COVID-19 cases and their close contacts that came into effect yesterday. His tweet showed that fully vaccinated asymptomatic cases will be required to isolate for 7 days before being released from their quarantine order. Patients who are unvaccinated or with incomplete vaccinations and those who are symptomatic must isolate for 10 days before being given their quarantine release order. Bersatu President Tan Sri Muhyiddin is confirmed to be infected with COVID-19 after testing positive through the RT-PCR test. In a Facebook post, the former Prime Minister said that he's only suffering from light symptoms, and apart from that, he's doing well. Maxis Berhad is in the midst of talks with the government to regulate its 5G network rollout to consumers. Chief Executive Officer Gokhan Ogut said the telecommunications group is currently working with regulators and the Communications and Multimedia Ministry on the matter. We are looking forward to 5G, and we have been working with regulators and the ministry. A 15-year-old girl has been remanded for 7 days to facilitate investigations into the death of a newborn baby boy, believed to have been stabbed in Kemaman Tuesday. The remand order was issued by Magistrate Tunku Iliana Tuan Kamurzaman at the Kemaman Hospital Maternity Ward after receiving an application from the police for investigations for murder under the Penal Code. In an incident on Tuesday morning, a newborn baby boy was found dead with chest injuries, believed to have been stabbed with a sharp object at a house in Felkra Sri Bandi, Chukai in Kemaman. Ottawa police have said volatile and determined demonstrators remain in Canada's capital after nearly 2 weeks of a trucker-led anti-vaccine mandate protests. Ottawa is under a state of emergency after protesters blockaded the city centre with trucks and cars. Police have seized thousands of litres of fuel in recent days. Up to 25% of the vehicles contain children who could be at risk during operations, police said on Tuesday. The so-called Freedom Convoy began on 9 January in Western Canada as truckers protested against a rule that requires them to be vaccinated against COVID-19 to cross the US-Canada border. The demonstrations have morphed to include anger at COVID restrictions and at Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's government generally. Though the rally has been mostly peaceful, police have expressed concern about extremist rhetoric coming from far-right groups among the protesters, as well as reported racial and homophobic abuse. Some dance on the tomb of the unknown soldier at the National War Memorial. UK firms have been hit by increased costs, paperwork and border delays as a result of Brexit, MPs have said. A member from Parliament's spending watchdog, the Public Accounts Committee (PAC), said it was clear that leaving the EU was having an impact on UK trade volumes. It also warned things could worsen this year as new import controls come in. The government said it continued to ensure businesses got the support they need to trade effectively with Europe. One of the great promises of Brexit was freeing British businesses to give them the headroom to maximize their productivity and contribution to the economy. Even more desperately needed now on the long road to recovery from the pandemic, said PAC Chair Matt Hillier. Yet, the only detectable impact so far is increased costs, paperwork and border delays. Russia's EU ambassador has told the BBC his country still believes diplomacy can help de-escalate the crisis over Ukraine. Vladimir Shizov said his country had no intention of invading anybody, but warned it was important not to provoke Russia into changing its mind. It comes after a flurry of diplomatic activity on Monday and Tuesday. Russia has repeatedly denied any plans to invade Ukraine. But with well over 100,000 troops massed near the Ukrainian border, some Western countries, including the US, have warned that a Russian attack could come at any time. And now for some sports news. Lando Norris has signed a new contract to stay at McLaren until the end of 2025. The 22-year-old, one of the stars of last season, said the move was a very strong message about his faith in McLaren's potential. Norris said, "We know it's not going to be quick. There are things we need to improve on to guarantee we can fight for race wins and championships. But I know that it's in the pipeline, and it's what I'm confident of achieving." To end the bulletin, here are the headlines again. Astronomical rise in Malaysia's daily COVID-19 count at over 17,000 new cases. Muhyiddin confirms COVID-19 positive, self-quarantines. 15-year-old girl remanded over stabbing of newborn. Maxis in talks with government to regulate 5G rollout, says CEO. Canada truckers arrest as police warn of volatile protesters. Brexit causing increased costs, paperwork delays, says MPs. Ukraine tensions, Russia sees room for diplomacy. And Formula One, Lando Norris to stay at McLaren until 2025. This has been the Gap News this morning, Thursday, 10th February, with reports from Free Malaysia Today, The Vibes and the BBC World Service. Podcasting live from Kuala Lumpur, I'm Ghazali Abdullah.